some places are abandoned for a reason, and some doors should never be opened. Tonight, on Haunted Horizons, we take you deep into the shadows of Ravensbrook Sanatorium, a place where the screams of the past still echo in the halls. Paranormal investigator Ethan Graves and his team entered this forgotten asylum to uncover the truth behind the horrifying legends. But they never expected what waited inside. Disembodied whispers, doors that lock on their own, and something crawling in the darkness, laughing. They thought they were documenting a haunted building. Instead, they became part of its story. Turn off the lights, put on your headphones, and listen carefully, because some places don't forget, and some spirits never rest. Some places are abandoned for a reason. Tucked away in the misty mountains of Black Hollow, the Ravensbrook Sanatorium had long since faded into legend. Once a facility for the mentally ill, it had been shut down in the 1950s under mysterious and horrific circumstances. Rumors spoke of inhumane experiments, vanishing patients, and an entity that lurked within its halls, something that had never left. For decades, no one dared to go near it, until now. When paranormal investigator Ethan Graves and his team decided to explore the sanatorium for their popular horror documentary series, they had no idea what awaited them. What was meant to be a night of investigation quickly turned into a descent into madness. Because some buildings don't stay empty, and some spirits don't rest. Chapter 1. Arrival at Ravensbrook. The sanatorium loomed before them, its towering structure swallowed in thick fog. The air was unnaturally cold, despite it being midsummer. Ethan adjusted his camera, the red recording light flickering in the dimness. "This place looks straight out of a nightmare," muttered Rachel, the team's tech specialist, as she set up the motion sensors. "Because it is," replied Marcus, their skeptic cameraman. "We've all heard the stories. You really think we're going to find anything real here?" Ethan didn't answer. He only stared at the broken windows, the crumbling walls. Something felt wrong, like the building was waiting for them. Then, the front doors creaked open by themselves. Chapter 2. The First Signs. Inside, the air was thick with dust and decay. Their footsteps echoed unnaturally, swallowed by the oppressive silence. Rachel set up the infrared cameras, scanning for any anomalies. Marcus whispered into his mic, narrating their entry, but his voice sounded muted, like the walls were absorbing it. Then came the first whisper, a faint voice echoing down the hallway. Rachel froze. "Did you hear that?" The whisper came again, closer. Ethan gripped his camera. The whisper wasn't a word. It was laughter. Chapter 3. The Locked Ward. They followed the sound to the east wing, where the most dangerous patients had once been kept. The metal doors were rusted shut, but one, room 308, stood slightly ajar. Marcus shined his flashlight inside. Holy! The walls were covered in scratches, deep, jagged marks, as if something had tried to claw its way out. Words had been etched into the stone. "Let me out." Rachel's handheld EMF meter spiked violently. The lights flickered. Then, behind them, a slam. The door to room 308 had closed on its own, and the lock clicked. Chapter 4. The Entity. The air turned freezing. Their breath misted in front of them. A deep, low growl resonated from the darkness. Rachel fumbled with the lock. "Something's in here with us." Ethan raised his camera, pointing it toward the mirror at the far end of the room. His hands trembled as he zoomed in. A shadowy figure stood in the reflection. But when he turned around, Nothing was there. A sudden knock on the mirror made them all jump. 3 slow, deliberate taps. Rachel whimpered, "We need to leave, now." Chapter 5. No escape. Their equipment malfunctioned. Radios screeched with static. The cameras glitched. The air was filled with the sound of whispering voices, overlapping, growing louder and louder. Then, the lights went out. Rachel screamed. Marcus cursed. Ethan turned on his night vision, the world shifting into an eerie green. That's when he saw it. The figure from the mirror was crawling on the ceiling, and it was laughing. A sudden, forceful wind howled through the hallway, slamming every door at once. The walls seemed to pulsate, breathing in and out as shadows moved unnaturally against them. Marcus pulled at the door handle, but it wouldn't budge. Something whispered in his ear, soft and cold. "Stay with us." Chapter 6. The Forgotten Patients. They ran, twisting through endless hallways that seemed to change and shift around them. Doors they had passed were suddenly gone. Corridors stretched impossibly long. The sanatorium was alive, and it wanted to keep them. A disembodied voice whispered in Ethan's ear, "You are one of us now." Rachel suddenly collapsed, gasping for air as unseen hands clawed at her throat. Her body was lifted slightly, as if suspended by invisible fingers. Ethan lunged forward, pulling her down. The air around them thickened with the scent of rotting flesh. Something was watching them, hunting them. Chapter 7. The last recording. Only Ethan's camera was recovered. The footage ended with him sobbing alone in the dark, begging to leave. But the last frame? It showed Ethan standing in the hallway, staring blankly into the camera. Except Ethan was the one holding the camera, and he was still filming. Chapter 8. The Return. A year later, another group of explorers entered Ravensbrook. They found no trace of Ethan, Rachel, or Marcus, but in the middle of the main hallway, they found a camera, still recording, still whispering their names. As one of the explorers picked up the camera, the screen flickered. For just a second, they saw a reflection of Ethan standing behind them. And then, the camera shut off. Epilogue. Ravensbrook still stands. The sanatorium remains untouched. If you listen closely at night, you might still hear them. The laughter, the whispers, the screams, because some places don't forget, and some doors never truly close.